Hello, every one of you. I know you are surprised to see me here in this discussion called Marriage Works. I'm not the teacher today, and I'm not going to give you any nuggets about marriage. So today I have a guest, and I'm sitting on behalf of Reverend Miano, who has allowed me to take this chance to at least have some people also giving their confession or testimonies about marital life, which is very important. As for me, I'm a new person, just got married the other day. So it's also good for us to learn from people who have experienced this life or marital life. So with me here is Olivia ESHUCHI, our own from DC Langata. I want you to introduce yourself, Sister Olivia ESHUCHI.
Hello viewers, my name is Olivia ESHUCHI. I am glad to be here today with Pascal as we tackle issues on marriage. I've been married for about a decade to one man, so I believe marriage works.
Yes, thank you so much for that introduction and for getting us know that you are, can we call you an expert in marriage? Is there anything like an expert in marriage when it comes to marriage? Are there experts?
I don't think they are experts. You know, someone said that marriage is one school you start with a certificate and continue learning till you die. So expertise, yes, comes from I guess how long you've been married, but you will realize that even the experts still have something to learn.
Yeah, that is true, because even Reverend Miano himself was telling us that even himself, as he continues to teach us about marriage, maybe for me, I'm like almost 1 year, and all those others that have gone before us, he was saying that he is still learning. Up to now, he's still like learning new ways of going through the marital life. And it's good that we have you here. Welcome.
Thank you.
And we want to thank all our viewers. You can share your comments. You can ask your questions. The number is there. You can also send your messages on WhatsApp, and Reverend Miano will be able to interact with your questions and also see how to go through them. So today, Sister Olivia, I want to ask, what do you think when young people talk about marriage? Like there's been a lot of talks about marriage. Some people say that you need to marry somebody who's tall, dark, and handsome. Some people also say that you need to marry somebody who has money. You need to marry this kind of person. What comes in your mind when you think about young people's talk about marriage?
I think that young people, yes, young people do talk about marriage. There are those that have, a few of them have what marriage could be, yes. Others have a completely skewed view of marriage. But you see, marriage is one of those things that you have to live. You can't be told whatever we have heard about marriage and what we have done through marriage, but marriage is lived. Because every marriage is unique. The individuals are unique. So every experience of marriage is unique. But it's something that can be done. And I'd like to let the young people know that marriage works. Marriage is doable. It is lived every day. And if someone puts their mind to it, they will do it. I think that young people have had quite a number of what should I call them? Opinions. They've also seen marriages that have not worked. It looks like they're seeing more marriages that are not working than those that are working. Or they choose to see those that are not working more than the ones that are working because there are fewer.
Yes.
But we can correct that through this program. I think that's why we are here, to give the Christian perspective on good marriage and to encourage them that it works.
So you are married for a decade plus.
Yes, 11 years.
11 years.
Yes.
And you just told us that you believe that marriage works. But before we get there, you know, I was talking to a friend some other day, and he was saying he's getting to know the person he will marry first before he marries them so that by the time they are together in the house,
They know each other.
they know each other. So is there, what is it that comes into our minds? For example, before I go to marry my wife, I was thinking about the same thing. I wanted to know my wife before I married her, but there are things that I didn't know about her. But now that we are living together, now we are getting to know each other again. So what can you comment about that, that notion or that mindset that we want to get to know each other? How does that get along with our marriage life?
I personally know that you can never really know someone fully, so that you get married to them.
But you were married for 10 years.
Yes.
We assume, like right now, you are qualified already.
I got qualified the day I said, yes, I do.
Sure.
I got qualified that day. The rest of it now is learning.
Yes.
Every single day I learn something about my husband. Yeah, and I have to choose every day to know that I made a commitment to this man. Today he is good, I love him. Today he annoyed me, I still love him. Okay, so you may never know someone fully. Even when people choose to stay together a little bit just so that they can know each other, there is still an act. Because if you set out and your goal is like, let's try this out and see whether it will work, you will still act.
Yes.
Yeah, there is still some acting in it because you have to please this person so that you get to a certain commitment. Once that commitment comes in, the true colors just unveil.
Yes.
They just unveil. And how many times will you get into this, let's test it? So what if you tested with the first person and it didn't work out?
Yes.
Drop that one. Go to the next. And it doesn't work out.
Yes.
You go to the next.
Yes.
When do you stop? Yeah, I think that this marriage thing is also a walk of faith. It is believing that this is a person that I would like to live with, and whether they are good or bad, I'm also good and bad. So let's just get together and make this thing work. Yeah.
Just echoing what you have said, I would like to think that marriage actually also enables us to know that we are actually human beings.
Yes.
That we can make mistakes, that we can be corrected, that we are human beings. So there's no time where if you act, for example, as you are dating, if you tried to act a personality that wasn't yours, and then you get into marriage, your true you will still manifest.
Yes.
So it's better when some people are courting, that's the best place, like to just be you. You know, to just, some people say, you just do you, you know. And it's good to hear from somebody like you who's been married for 11 years that when people are courting, they're not real until now they get into marriage. Of course, not real in a bad way, but because they are expecting some very firm commitment to be given to them, or somebody to just give them a promise that will lead them to something. And that is really commendable of you to hear that from you. And according to Reverend Miano, many times we tend to look for people who will make us happy in marriage, or people who will always make us laugh. But according to his experience and counseling, he says that there is time for joy and sometimes conflict in marriage.
That's true.
So let's say, for example, how, because he's been teaching us, telling us that we should not take marriage as opponents, but we should approach marriage as a team. How can you elaborate that in your own words, being a person who's been there from day 1 to 1 year to 2 years up to 11 years, and how is that real in life?
You see, when two people come together, as they say at the wedding,
Yes.
these two have become one. But when conflict comes,
Yes.
the two of you realize you're actually two.
Sure.
You realize you are two.
Uh-huh.
You realize you think differently.
Yes.
You realize you attack problems differently.
Yes.
It is only in the joy that you rejoice together. But when conflict comes, there's two of you.
Yes.
So it is work. It is deliberate for the two of you to come together and know who the common enemy is. That when they said we are one, we are actually one.
Yes.
There is something else that's trying to come in against us.
Yes.
So we are going to be a team. We are going to attack the problem.
Yes.
Yes, we are going to forgive one another and know that whatever thoughts we have are good towards one another. Because when you're in a team and it's going to work, you have to have good thoughts towards one another.
Sure.
So as one person, you choose to attack conflict, not to attack one another. Yeah, that's something.
You choose to attack conflict,
to attack the problem.
The problem,
to attack the problem.
Yes.
Not
together.
one another. Together. You don't pull different ways.
Yes.
Yeah. Sometimes because of our background, because of our bringing, it is hard to see things the same way. But you see, there is a beauty in those who are in Christ.
Yes.
He is the uniting factor.
Yes.
They say marriage is for two, but there is a third person, the initiator of marriage himself.
Yes.
That's a band of three. So when you realize that the three of us and a cord of three strands cannot be broken,
Yes.
you fight the problem, you fight the issue, you don't fight one another.
Wow.
Yes.
That is so very nice to hear from you about that. There's something you mentioned that people like break up every time, or young people have been looking at marriages that do not work. And they make that a belief in them. And I'm so encouraged to hear from people like Reverend Miano and someone like you also about marriage and the years that you have enjoyed in marriage, not because there were no conflict, not because it was just like you meet together in the house and you start laughing, you give good stories. There are times of ups and downs, as Reverend Miano has been teaching us throughout these programs. So my question will also be, how important is it for people to feed from good role models, or to have role models in their lives? How important is it for young people or those people that are maybe courting to have role models? Because we have seen many relationships that have started and all of a sudden people are broken up. We have heard of marriages.
Yes.
Yeah, because as we have been going through counseling, and we have been hearing some rumors also in our social media. Things are there outside. And we hear people got married today and after a week they broke up. And there are causes of that. And all. So my question is, what do you think about role models in our society right now and the contents that we are feeding on? What is the importance of having good role models and choosing, because you can't have a role model unless you are drawn to them. So what is the importance of role models?
You see, even in the corporate world, in business, in education, they are what we call role models and mentors.
Yeah.
You go to school only for a while. You get married for a lifetime.
Yes.
At least that's what the deal is at the beginning, that till death do us part.
Yes.
So if you're going to live with someone for the rest of your life, shouldn't you have people that have gone before you to help you walk this walk?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they have been there, they have experienced things, they are able to tell you this will work, this may not work, this you have tried, you can drop this. It is important to have people to refer to. That's why at weddings, I've not seen a wedding that does not have what they call a best couple.
Yeah, best couple.
Yeah, because the assumption is that these are people that are going to walk with you. This walk of marriage cannot be walked just the two of you. You need people that hold your hands.
Yes.
You need people that tell you, young man, you are wrong in this. This is how you do it. Because God did not, he put everything we need in us. But there are people that activate those things.
Yes.
So role models are people that do things like that. Yeah, where you ask questions, I didn't understand this. And a role model will tell you, this is how it works. Yeah, and I think that is what's missing with the young people these days. Many of them think that the older people are old school.
Yeah.
They lived in those archaic years and they don't understand about marriage now. But the stages of marriage are almost the same.
Yes.
Yeah, you start at some point and you go to the next. And those people that we call role models have walked that road. And they're people that can show you the way to walk. And you walk in it.
Ah.
Yes, there are people who have wisdom. Wisdom comes over years.
Yes.
Yes, when you're younger, there are things that we used to do when we were younger in marriage with my husband. And right now, after doing 10, 11 years, we're thinking, what was that about?
Yes.
Yeah, that was so much foolishness. We are wiser now. So when there is a young couple, indeed, I would advise that they have role models, that they have a good best couple, that they get into a marriage group. Yeah, sometimes role models, I don't think role models can be people your age. They should be people older that have done this work, especially as far as marriage is concerned.
Yes.
People that you look up to. Some of them you don't even talk to. Yeah, but you see that their marriage is working. When marriage is working, it shows.
Yes.
It shows. You may not hide it. So those are people to follow.
Reverend Miano told us that there is no marriage that has just been smooth.
None.
Like there's no marriage without conflict, without problems.
None.
And when we talk about conflicts, maybe people are thinking it's about picking up a stone, fighting in the house and all that, which we normally hear in some other families, which is unfortunate. We hear that a man has beaten his wife or a wife has beaten his man. And some of these cases are not just outside there. We also hear some of these cases in believers' houses. Yeah, so it's very important for us to consider, especially having people that we can look up to for our marriage to work. So is it right maybe to, as you have talked, picking up marriage couples? How do you pick these marriage couples? Because sometimes you find that maybe there are people whose relationships have not been that good. They've been fighting, really fighting, let alone the conflict part of it, which is verbal. And you find that there may be abuse, which is called domestic abuse. Is it right for somebody who has been domestically abusive to be a best couple to somebody?
Wow, that's a
Based on your own view, based on your own view.
That's a tricky question. I think that if that person was, the domestic abuse should be in the past.
Yes.
In the past.
In the past.
Yes. It should, that person should be a forgiven sinner. One who used to beat their wife and now they no longer do that.
Yes.
They have turned away from that.
Yes.
They are treating their wife well.
Yes.
Yeah. Role models also, you will be guided by God. Yeah, God will guide you into picking role models.
Yes.
Because, Pascal, you may not know the innards of my marriage.
Yes.
Yes. But knowing that we are flesh and blood,
Yes.
if you weigh and realize that you see more good in I and my husband than bad,
Yes.
then yeah, maybe you can consider us to be role models.
It's true.
Yeah, but if the wrong outweighs the right, you're better off looking somewhere. But for me, I think that the most important thing is to pray. Pray to God to bring people into your life. Because if your request is genuine,
Yes.
you're requesting God for role models so that you can walk this journey and walk it to His glory. He will actually open your eyes to see the people around you, people that can walk with you, people that are not afraid to tell you when you're wrong, people that are willing to share their marriages. Because marriage is quite, it can be public and private as well.
Yes.
Yeah, sometimes there are things that people who are married won't want you to know. But God will bring people into your life that are actually willing to open up just for the benefit of you and your spouse.
Wow.
Yeah, so pray.
Thank you so much for that answer. Now, in your view,
Yes.
what do you think causes conflicts between a male gender and a female gender, especially married couple? Because sometimes you sit with your husband or your wife, like for me, in my experience, I sit with my wife, I mention something and it looks like it's a dangerous thing I've mentioned. or maybe she reacts in a way, and I think that no, she should not take this like it's a big deal. This is a small issue. Yes. So what do you think in your reasoning is a cause of conflict in manners like those ones, things like those ones? Maybe I take this thing as small, and then maybe the other party or my wife or partner takes it as a big deal. So has something like that ever happened during your marital life? Now you are 11 years, but yes. Has something like that ever happened?
It happens all the time.
Yeah.
It happens all the time.
Huh.
I think that one of the reasons that happens is the fact that first and foremost, we are male and female.
Yes.
I think we need to make it clear that when we talk about marriage in this particular context, we're talking about a man and a woman.
Yes, yes.
It is not between a woman and a woman. We are not, I don't know if I should be saying this. Yeah. We are not exactly tolerant. We are looking at marriage as the Bible, Bible lays it down.
Yes.
We are man and woman.
Yes.
That, for starters, is enough to show difference.
Yes.
Yes, men think differently, women think differently. There's a book, I've forgotten, I think the gentleman is called Mark Ganga, and he says women's brains they're zigzag, I mean, it goes all together. For men, they're squares,
yes. Straight
line, one goes this way, one goes that way. So because of that, there's bound to be conflict. Yeah. Also, besides us being male and female, it's how we are raised. Yeah. I come from, for example, I come from a different part of this continent. My husband comes from another part. Yeah, another. Yeah, that in itself, we didn't even speak the same language when we met. Only the Queen's language, English.
Yes.
That is a reason for conflict. He was raised up differently, I was raised up differently. We come from completely different places. Our value systems, the things that we have been taught, yeah, there are things like you're saying.
Yes.
For someone, it is a very small thing because they were told to handle it as small.
Yes.
Yeah, that can be dealt with so easily. For another, they've been taught that you have to first do this, and then you go to this, and then, so it is a big thing. It is a process. While for you, it is a touch and go.
Yes.
What is that? Value system. What other thing causes conflict? The family around us, our families.
Yes.
Yes, since they were raised differently also, I come from my family, there's a way we think, you come from your family, there's a way you think. And by the way, both families are right. Eh?
Yes.
So while we're struggling to make it clear that I am right, even the other party is right, there conflict happens. Because we always assume that only one person should be right.
Yes.
There's only one right and one wrong. But ultimately, over time, you realize all things are right. We are all right. We just have to find a working way. Yeah, those are some of the things.
Let's talk about forgiveness for a moment. Reverend Miano mentioned an example of how to resolve conflict.
Okay.
And he said that you cannot replace the approach to resolving conflict in substitute to something else. Let's say, for example, I and my wife have some conflict, then I say, you remember I had promised that I'm going to take you to Mombasa for a function
holiday.
Or for holiday or this. Now, let's do away with this conflict. I'll take you to Mombasa. So what he said is that even when you go to that holiday, that topic will rise up. Yeah.
Yes.
So let's talk about forgiveness. Also, of course, not escaping how to resolve conflict. So what can you talk about a condition like this one, and also talk a little bit about forgiveness in marriage? How did you go about it for those 11 years? How have you been able to say, okay, this matter is solved, I'm forgetting it? And how have you been able to deal with your husband and to continue and say, now this matter is behind us and now we are moving on forward? Or there are instances that it still come and you remember such like things?
Like you said, what Reverend Miano said, you know, many people would conflict is a hard thing to deal with. Yeah, so there are times that you just want to sweep it under the carpet and pretend that it is not there, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
But you see, after a while, the carpet starts to stink. Yeah, it starts to stink because the conflict, the issue is still there. So many times, the best way is to just deal with the issue. I think that over time I've realized that in every marriage, there is that one person that is more gifted at dealing with issues and conflict. And I think that when one person in a marriage, when you realize that there is this, my wife deals with this better. My wife is good at calling me up and saying, honey, there's this, we have to sort it out. Yeah, it's good to take their cue. Yeah, when she says, it's usually the way is funny. Yeah, so when she says, honey, there's something to deal with here, open up. Open and be willing to deal with it. That takes us back to the fact that what we talked about, that we are a team. So when she says we need to talk, I'm told men fear those 3 words. We need to talk. But when someone says we need to talk, they are coming from a good place. They are coming from a place that wants to sort this thing and take away this stench and bring back the perfume of this relationship. Yeah, so let us be willing to deal with to deal with issues one at a time. Sometimes you can't deal with it now. But if you say, not now, we can't do it now, let the time be set. Let's say this has to be worked out. Sometimes it's so hard to deal with. Start with prayer. Yeah, if you are so hard, start with prayer. Say, today, Lord, I am bringing this thing before you. That before I go to my wife or my husband, please go before us. Let's talk this thing out without flaring, and it shall be dealt with. Forgiveness. Forgiveness is an obligation of every Christian. Yeah, what did Jesus say? You forgive how many times? 70 times 7. I am telling you, there is no better place to forgive all those times than in marriage. You have to forgive. They say unforgiveness kills the one who is not forgiving. Yeah, so for the sake of your own heart, for the sake of this marriage, even that person who's not said sorry, you know, sometimes they won't say sorry. Yeah, but you know in your heart that the right thing to do is to forgive. So you choose to forgive. Yeah, sometimes they'll say sorry. When they say sorry, forgive. When they don't say sorry, still forgive. Because that is what God expects of you. And it's funny that when you forgive, sometimes they come back later and say, you see, this thing, this and this. And in your heart, it is actually settled. Yeah, so in marriage, forgiveness is very important. It keeps a relationship going. Yeah, and forgiveness makes it stale. It makes it vegetative. You know what a vegetative state is? Up or two. Forgiveness causes things to go on. It opens up doors. Yes, so it is important to be forgiving of your spouse when they ask and when they don't ask. It is a grace that God gives, especially when you set up your mind to make a marriage work.
You love them also.
Yes, because you love them.
You wish them well.
And you made a commitment to God, first and foremost. Yes. That should spur you to forgive. That this is not just between me and my husband or me and my wife, but there is God. And forgiveness is what God would want me to give. So you go on and forgive.
Wow. So in everything that happens in our marriage, we should make God the center of everything.
Absolutely.
That's true. Now, if I may ask this last question so that we can finish. Maybe I have not asked a lot of questions, and maybe you viewer, you are there and you're wondering, there are some questions I really wanted you to ask, but you have not asked. You can just send your messages, you can comment there, you can ask your question, and maybe Reverend Miano will be able to tackle those questions. Because I'm sure I'm not yet in his shoes of counseling marriages, and that's why I'm just asking the questions that I am able to ask for this time. And maybe I would ask, is marriage counseling necessary before marriage? And also, what about those who are already married without marriage counseling? How effective is marriage counseling also for those people who are already in marriage? Does it work for them that are in marriage? And how important is it before marriage?
Premarital counseling is very important.
Yes.
Even after 11 years, there are still things I remember that Reverend Miano told us.
Yes.
Yes, that still work.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Sometimes it's better to be prepared before you go in.
Yes.
And like I said, when you're told some of those things in premarital counseling, they seem like a buzz. They are not exactly real.
Yeah.
And then you get in and you actually see what you are told.
Yes.
So my friends and I have actually been thinking about post-marital counseling.
Yeah.
Dealing with people that are already in this fray,
Yes.
people that are already living marriage, because many people are not refusing to get married.
Yes.
People are getting married.
Yeah.
And then when they get married and the fire starts, they jump out. So it is very important that post-marital counseling happens.
Yes.
And I think that people should not just come when the bad things start to happen, even when the good things are going on.
Yes.
It's good to come and say, yes, we are doing well.
Yeah.
That is when confused.
Endelea tu hata kwa Kiswahili. Tuko sawa. Hatukati hiyo view.
Mlinitoa wapi mimi?
Hatutakata hiyo. Hebu endelea.
Yes. Like I was saying,
yeah.
I and friends of mine have been actually agreeing that post-marital counseling is necessary. Yeah. Because people suffer with things in marriage, especially the young married. Yeah. They say the first 3 years are the hardest. I think that they are harder years. They are harder years, even after those 3 years. Marriage is not a place of, it's not for the weak, like they say. Yeah. But there are people that God has put along the way. It is a journey. There are people that God will put along the way to give you a glass of water. When it's getting so tough and you're getting so thirsty, to give you a glass of water, to give you a bathroom somewhere, say, come and wash and take off that dirt. Yes. That is what post-marital counseling will do for married couples. So that people don't just jump out after 1 year because imeshindikana, ijashindikana bado. If there is someone that is willing to talk to you and say, this is just something. We also went through this, and this is how we managed. Okay? Or like Reverend Miano is doing, someone that you can go with and pray. Yes. Just pray over a matter in marriage. Yeah. You know that when something is put before God, he takes it over completely. Yes. So that marriages don't fall apart because people are carrying very heavy burdens and they are thinking, ini ngumu sana. You're not the first. There are people that have gone before you. Yes. So yes, post-marital counseling is very necessary. For me, I think that it is the next important thing after premarital counseling. Yes. Because we emphasize premarital counseling very much. And yet at that time, people are in the excitement of getting married. Emotions are running high. Hormones are running high as well. After you get in, the hormones somehow subside. You start getting into a new normal. Yes. Let there be people that can tell you, even in this new normal, like we are in COVID, things will work. You will make it. Yes. When you swore to God for life, yes, you can keep this vow to God. Yes.
The Bible tells us, trust the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In every way acknowledge him and he will make your path straight. Yes. How do you think that one also can be applied in our marital life? Like, because I think I've heard of people who are saying, I cannot go for counseling. You know, I have lived to see my fathers the way they were living with their wives. I've seen my uncle, my grandfathers and all that. You know, I will put this lady in her space or I will put this man in his space. I know what it takes or the things I'm supposed to do by myself. Is it correct to not seek counseling at any time? Is it like, can somebody really be truthful when they say that we know how to deal with our own marriage issues?
I think that it would not be true. It would be a lie to say that you know how to Well, there are issues that you can deal with by
Yes.
yourselves.
Yeah.
Like we said, if you're a team
Yes.
and you have decided that we are together and
Yes.
we are against these issues.
Yes.
Okay, but there are those sometimes that go beyond. There are things that go beyond even your belief.
Yeah.
Yeah, that you need a third party that is objective and grounded
Yes.
to come in and tell you and just speak truth to you both.
Yes.
Get you from wherever you have gone and pull your spouse together and tell you guys, this will not work this way. Yeah, so there are things that are beyond two people.
Yes.
That's why people are wedded in church, others are wedded in mosques. If we go traditional, that is why they are elders when people are getting married.
Yes.
Yeah, so that when it feels like it's inashindikana, there are people that you can go to. So yes, there are those that you can handle by yourselves, but there are those that you will need outside help. And not just outside help, grounded outside help, people that believe what you believe, that carry the same belief system as you have,
Yes.
people that have walked the walk, people that are tried and tested and can still stand and say this works. Yeah, so I guess you need outside help sometimes.
Thank you so much. Wonderful to hear that from our own sister Olivia. Wow, 11 years in marriage and still working the marriage. As our Reverend Miano has been telling us, marriage works.
It
And
does.
from what also I'm hearing is that work marriage. So marriage work, but you
You
need
have
to
to
work
work
your
it.
marriage.
Take 3.
Right now, I just want to appreciate our own priest here in the house, Bishop Dr. Geoffrey K. Njuguna, who has been really passionate about family, and I can say this without any contradiction, that is a man to look up to when it comes to family matters. And as we have heard today, is that marriage needs to be worked on by two people who are in the marriage. And also, if they need to consult a third party, they should do so. And also not ignoring any marital teachings, especially what our own Reverend Miano has been teaching us on marriage works. So until next time, I really want to commend you for always following this program, and we will make sure that your questions reach Reverend Miano so that he can address and speak on them according to how you will have forwarded them to him. May God bless you and bless your marriages. I've been ABIYAH. I've been your questionnaire, or on behalf.
Been your horse.
Host. Okay. I've been your host today, ABIYAH Pascal from DC Langata, and I'm so glad to be hosting this program today on behalf of Reverend Miano. He will be there the next episode to answer the questions and also to bring some new nuggets. May the Lord bless you. Any word that you have?
Well, it's been an honor to be here with you today, Pascal. I would like to reiterate indeed that marriage works. We work it. Like you say, marriage is work. There is work to do in there, but it's a beautiful thing altogether. If you're out there and you seek to know more about marriage, please keep tuning in to Reverend Miano's broadcast. He's a man of wisdom. He's counseled so many of us here, especially at Deliverance Church Langata and out there. Please tune in and make your marriage work. Yes, it's all written in the Word of God. But like I said, he sets up people along the way. Reverend Miano is one of them. Please tune in for the next episode. God bless you.